Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today I'm doing a different kind of video. It's the 10 ways that I'm thinking of changing my Booktube channel and my reading plans for 2023. So I hope you will enjoy it. Number one is the reality of being 70 and having a Booktube channel. Let me just say that 70 is not 60. There are some changes that go on. I love this word that I heard from a lot of the British booktubers. So I've been feeling poorly. It sounds so much better than sick, doesn't it? But this last 2 weeks, I've had various illnesses, not serious, but enough to send me to urgent care, and enough that my physical therapist is a little worried about me, but not to worry. I feel much better now. But it made me think, what is the future for me on Booktube? Obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously, but I can't do it until I'm 80, or maybe I can. That depends, right? On my future health and my future goals. And I'm a very goal-oriented person. I always have to have something going on. I always say every decade of my life, I've had something big has to happen in my life. I make it happen. And at 70, it was to start a Booktube channel, and I'm really enjoying my Booktube experience. And all the friends that I've made here, all the buddy reads, and really people that I can say are like real-life friends. And for me, that's enough to keep me doing videos. But it's on let's see basis, let's put it that way. Just to show you some of my plans, I picked up this book. I found it on a website. It's Barbara Sher's idea book. Barbara Sher, unfortunately, she passed away recently, or maybe a few years ago. And she was my mentor in so many ways. And I thought, okay, this book was written, quite a while ago, just when the internet was starting to take off. And it was written in 2004. So some of the ideas, 2004, that's almost 20 years ago. So yeah, some of the ideas are a little bit aged, didn't age well. But she had so many ideas, and a lot of them are pertaining to making money and, like a second career, or doing what you love and then making money on the side so you can do what you want. And I found a lot of ideas here that can be tweaked a little bit, but, that will pertain to our time. So that's the first thing that I plan to do. I want to read more books that will help me decide what my goal is through my 70s, And they say the 70 now is like what, 40? It's not. Just letting you young people know that. So I'm going to tweak my channel certain ways, and I'll go into that. The second thing that I want to do is something I haven't done for since I started, really, and that's do a weekly reads. And that's because I can't, and I know you don't have to, a Friday reads, a weekly reads, a recent reads, and I just ended up doing wrap-ups, and then you can't remember everything that you felt about the passion or the dislike that you felt about a book. And I just found it overwhelming to have to go through so many books. And that goes into another point, and not to read so many books, but I'm coming to that later. Number 3 is to read more on audio text, audio. And some books, they'll do very well just by reading a book. And I read Howard's End just like this, and it kept me engaged. But The Age of Innocence that I just finished, I needed an audio or I wouldn't have been able to finish it. So, and that's by Edith Wharton. So I thought it would be annoying, but actually I enjoyed it. And I think it was Lindy who told me, when you have long sentences and you hear it instead of reading it and trying to, catch your, okay, what were they saying in the beginning of the sentence? Yeah, so listening to it is a different skill, so I really like it. Don't like it more than print, but I like it. Number 4, and this is an important one, it's reading less, but more intentional. And now I'm going to go into something I'm reading, or I started reading Middlemarch last year, the end of last year. And this is a complicated text. So I took out Victoria's Century by David Cannadine. Cannadine. And of course, Middlemarch is George Elliot. And I said, I'm not going to be afraid of reading a tome because I'm going to do it with close reading. Okay, what is close reading? According to the internet, the goal of close reading is to analyze the text, interpret why details and the text itself are significant. Therefore, close reading does not try to summarize the author's main points. Rather, it focuses on picking apart and closely looking at what the author makes his or her argument, why it is interesting. And I also have some other facts about close reading. So you read closely to determine what the text says explicitly and to make logical inferences from it. You cite specific textual evidence when writing or speaking to support conclusions drawn from the text. Uncover layers of meaning, and that's what I want to do with Middlemarch. And Nancy Bowles, in an excellent educational leadership article, defines it. Essentially, close reading means reading to uncover layers of meaning that lead to deep comprehension. And I really want to do that with Middlemarch. It reminded me when I was going to school, and I know a lot of people annotate on Booktube. Annotating is not for me. I don't like little slips of paper, but I do like having a notebook and writing down questions. I think that's so important. I had a professor in college who said, if you want to understand something or read closely, when you read something, ask questions. We weren't given tests. We just had to ask 10 questions about what we were reading. And let me tell you, it does break down a text, and you know what to look up, what you need to know. For example, in Middlemarch, I needed to know the social structure of the Victorian period, the politics, what was happening. And I'm not saying I read all of Victoria's Century, but it did give me an overview of what George Elliot was trying to do, even though I've only read the first book, the first part. Okay, so now number 4, well, I'm still in number 4, and that's, so I'm also going to read less. The first year I was on Booktube, I made a goal of, I think it was 100 books, and I went over that by a few books. The second year, I made 50 books goal, a 50-book goal, and I made 83. This year, I made a 25-book goal. And you might say, I want to slow down. Why am I doing this? I want to slow down and read more intentionally. And of course, not every book needs to be read intentionally. I mean, I read mysteries. I love mysteries, but they don't need to be read intentionally. If you're basically a good reader, as most of Booktube are, you will be able to read a book without going through all of the close reading. But I tend to, even with a book that I'm enjoying, this is what I tend to do. If I'm enjoying something and it's not a very difficult text, I tend to go back and read it again. I don't write anything, but I said, oh, this is delightful, I want to read it again. So I tend to, I'll go ahead and then I'll read it. It's almost like rereading, but you're doing it at the same time you're reading the book. So I think I said enough about that. It also going out of my comfort zone, which I'm doing with Middlemarch. Of course, I want to read more out of from my shelf. Everybody says this, but in my case, you know, I don't have a lot of money to spend on books, and I spent more money than I should have these last 2 years. And for example, I have Careless on my it's like on my TBRs, and I want to read it so badly, but the library books have to be brought back to the library or you pay a fine. So I tend to concentrate on my library books, and the books that I bought I tend to leave to the end, and I want to read more of my shelf. So that is number 5. No, 6. Okay, 7 is, I don't really want to do this. I mean, specifically, I feel I should do this. Well, you know what they say, never should on yourself. Should on yourself. I want to create a tag, but I've been afraid that nobody would do the tag. And then I said, well, I'm a writer. I should create a tag. It can't be that difficult. And so many wonderful booktubers have created tags that people love. So why can't I, you know? But it's like myself, you know, I'm scared. But I might do that this year. And that goes into number 8, where I plan to maybe co-host a readathon, maybe March Mystery Madness, because that sounds like fun. And when I started out, I was really interested in mainly mysteries, not so much thrillers. But yeah, so I maybe want to take part in that in March, but we'll see if somebody asks me, of course. And 9 is not worrying about, you know, doing more videos or keeping up with the booktube giants here, because that's not going to happen. I love my buddy reads, I love my friends, I love everyone who takes time to look at my channel and stop by my channel, and I love comments, so please comment and you know, like if you like this video. So yeah, so that's another thing I plan to do. And yeah, I'm going to get mixed up with all my, yeah, so I'm not going to worry about the sub counts or the, you know, going into the studio and seeing you lost 5 people, 10 people, you know, I don't care, you know. It's not like I'm going to go to 200,000 and make money. It's just that, of course, you want people to watch you, because then you're just screaming out in the wilderness, right? But I'm happy where I am, and I hope more people will subscribe, but I'm not going to worry about it. And number 10 is a non-bookish, sort of a non-bookish thing. I want to spread my wings. I want to do things that are out of my comfort zone. I always did things out of my comfort zone. One thing I want to do that's bookish is read more banned books, hopefully by women. And this book is delightful, by the way. I have read only maybe, or so far, 5 books out of the banned books, but it tells you why they were banned and how society changes. And yeah, I really do want to do that. And going back to the audio, which I forgot to say, I want to listen to Factory Girls by Michelle Gallen on audio, because I didn't understand it. It was in dialect of Northern Ireland, so I need to listen to get the gist of that. And I might have forgotten to say that I forgot that I plan to DNF more books and talk about why I plan to DNF it. Like I said, I'm not going to be afraid to DNF. And I'm DNFing Daisy Darker by Alice Feeny for two reasons. One is that I never read a book by Alice Feeny that I liked. And I just heard and watched someone's video where they said don't bother, so I'm not going to bother. Also, if you do like Alice Feeny, this is just, of course, my channel and my opinion. So, but I did read her before, and I don't like her. And this one kind of pains me a little bit because it was on the long list for women's fiction, and it's Maps of Our Spectacular Bodies. It's a novel by Maddie Mortimer, and it's a debut, and it's written in an experimental style about a cancer. Well, she's not a survivor, and we know this, and I just couldn't. When you can't, you can't. So if you love this book, I'm happy for you, but for me, it didn't work for me. So then my last point that I want to bring up with you is that I want to spread my wings and do something different. And I have some ideas brewing, so if you can tell me if any of these would be interesting to you. I was thinking of doing another, maybe making another channel, I know, but on a different subject, either mental health or animals, dogs, or what it's like to be my age and having to go through the world as a 72-year-old woman. I don't know yet. It's exciting. And I also plan to spread my wings in different ways, literally, by traveling. Because one thing I learned is that you better do it now. While I still can travel, I want to travel. There's places I still want to see. There's places I want to see again. So who knows, I might do a vlog. You know, anything is possible. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me what you think of my plans. Should I continue doing Booktube? I hope so, because I love all of you. So until we meet again, my friends, aloha.